A Team Wilpers Challenge training block, week 3 athlete briefing. Coach Greg Wagoner, how's everybody doing? Coming to you from Middlebury, Vermont, where it's between 50 and 75 degrees. It's been absolutely beautiful, but I know that's not true around the country. You guys have had some heat, you've had some smoke, so if you're going outdoors to train, please be careful. Use your judgment and just be safe out there, okay? That being said, your coach, yours truly, I am racing my bike this Saturday. The event is called Vermont Overland. It's in Ascutney, Vermont. It is a 50-mile, 7,000 feet elevation gravel race each year. So I just got the email. I did the read up, you know, the final email. Each year they say this is the hardest course yet, and with all the rain here in Vermont leading up to this weekend, gravel roads washed out, Jeep trails in bad shape. This is no different. They say this is the hardest course that they've done. So if you're a road biker, this event is not for you. And if you prefer the mountain bike trails, technical, twisty, turny, this event is not for you. This is just grueling, rocky, unmaintained gravel roads. I don't think it's like the manicured normal gravel roads that are normally ridden. So I normally would not have gravitated towards this kind of a race, but here I am. When in Rome, you do the races that are available and that you can get to, so I feel lucky. I've been trying to get my bike all tuned up this week, and that's been a process. I would have told you all to do it a week earlier and gotten after you if you were doing things last minute, but today I did put a new chain on my bike and it feels mwah. In fact, if you are in this event and you're listening, never mind what I just said. Don't worry about a new chain. You can leave your old rusty chain on there. You'll do just fine. All right, never mind me. Last week's goals, in addition to crushing the rides, you remember, guys? You should be getting your bike fit dialed in. You should be setting your goals and narrowing down, like specific goals, not just more consistent, but I want to ride 4 days a week, this much time. I didn't wax the chain. I had an old wax chain, Jackie, and this one is brand new. It's just, so I'm gonna race it the way it is, the way it comes out of the box. So, but usually I do run a wax chain. You're right. So check in tomorrow. I might take it off and do some last minute. Anyway, consistency being the main goal that you all wrote and said, and hopefully you've gotten that dialed in, and it's a very explicit or specific goal. Hope you're narrowing in on what exactly that means to you, and you're taking that seriously. That's a big part of this process. So I am seeing some of you that are posting about an outdoor event, like I just mentioned, and in the coming weeks. So congrats on the new bike, and more on that a little bit later. So the outdoor event is not necessary, but if you're up for it and that's your thing, awesome. I'm happy. All right, week 2 is the week that we're in right now, is build week 1, where we went to zone 4 and maybe you decided to add the extra days, or 1 extra day, or an extra 15 minutes, 5 days at the most. Okay, I don't need more than I don't think anybody really needs more than 5 days. If you do them properly, 2 days recovery is great. Pedaling mostly at zone 2, 75% of your FGP for the majority of the extra time. Okay, maybe you've done that, as that was a build week. The coming week that I'm talking about, we're talking about week 3. So coming week's goals, training wise, we're going to keep the consistency going, right? Training consistently is most of our goals. The intensity is going to go up just a little bit for build week 2. I think some of you have logged into the portal and you have seen that the rides are there, and it does have a little bit of zone 5 in there, some more zone 4, so the intensity is up. Back up just a little bit, okay? Back up to the whole structure of the challenge, training block. We had intro week, fairly straightforward. It was an introductory week, not too much intensity. We had build week 1. Okay, that's what we're in right now. And now we're talking about build week 2. So it is a progressive nature, and yeah, they build on each other. training blocks can also have a specific goal. So the whole 6-week program has a pretty specific goal with FTP in mind, but you can have different training blocks. You can do a base training block, a build training block, or several build training blocks, a race specific training block. You can do a transition training block with a lot less riding and maybe more strength training or yoga or walking or some other thing. Anyway, you can do a lot of different things with the blocks that were given, the individual workouts that were given, and then put those together into weeks, and weeks form training blocks, and you can put the blocks together to really form a whole annual training plan. So it's pretty cool to sit there and play around with things. All right, let's talk about the coming week's workouts. Week 3 workouts. Hopefully you all saw that the timers are available. I did get some timers together. They are available on the portal. They do have specific percentage recommendations. I felt like that was popular demand, so I like them too. That helps me know them, and I think it's helpful. So try them out. If you haven't tried it before, ask your teammates, and they will tell you how to use them. In RunGap, you do need to get an app called RunGap. There is a small, I think it's a $5 fee. Not needed. You can just call up the classes, and that is an awesome way to do this whole training block. All right, Monday. Monday has 4-minute zone 4s and 2-minute zone 5s. Okay, that is one of the most intense rides of this whole training block. Monday's ride. Wednesday's ride then has 3-minute zone 3s and 3-minute zone 4s in various intervals, so back and forth. I love this structure. I love the structure of both these rides. If your zones are set properly, these 2 rides are challenging but doable. People that I talked to on the phone, they asked me, like, how can you, from your desk, your computer, never seen me before, how can you get so close to what my abilities are in your exercise prescriptions? Well, that FTP test really tells a lot, and we can zone in on your true abilities, whether you think you can do it or not. It's pretty cool to be able to push you to your limits and see what you're capable of. And almost always, unless you're physically exhausted, stressed, and otherwise not up for the ride, you should be ready and capable of doing these 2 rides. So get your rest, get your recovery day to day, come ready to play on Monday and Wednesday for those workouts, all right? Thursday is a zone 2 ride. You know my favorite, 75% is my favorite, but call up the ride, follow the cues, maybe it's 70%. If you follow my my timer, it will put you at 75% of your FTP for 30 or so minutes, and just pedal it out. It's a great intensity. Okay, Saturday is a 75-minute. This is the longest workout of the challenge so far, with 6 and 9-minute zone 3s and 4-minute zone 2 recoveries. I think you all know by now that I like my zone 2 recoveries instead of zone 1 recoveries. Go ahead, take them down to 75% as a floor for your workouts if that's what you're used to, if you've done it before. If you're brand new and that seems a little intense, go ahead, drop down to zone 1 for the recoveries. Just saying, there's room to improve how the workouts are. There's room to improve the intensity. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Sunday then of build week. This is Sunday of build week 2. Okay, you have a recovery week coming. Maybe if you're on the 3 or 4 ride program and you've not done a Sunday ride, this is maybe a good time to try it out. Okay, if you're 4 or 5 ride per week curious, this is the time to get some extra time by riding this extra ride. Add it to your schedule. Even if you fall back to 4 or 3 next week, this is a good time to add in extra. Okay, this is a good time to put it up there. All right. Again, it's the same ride as Thursday. Okay, it's the exact same structure. If you look at the timers that I built, it's the exact same ride. It is a different class, so call up the class or call up whatever class you want. Do it on Just Ride. Do it on a scenic ride. Play your own music. There's a lot of ways to do this. That's the week. That's the 5 days. The Also, take a step back and look at the intensity of each week. Now, week 1 had a weekly TSS of 206. Week 2 had 225. This week, coming up, week 3 has 262 for a weekly TSS if you do all 5 rides the way they are planned. It might be more if you're doing the extra 15 minutes. It might be a little bit more if you're following the timers, but you can see that the progression is on. It's real. It's going up each week. We will fall back after this and take a recovery week, though. So, why did I pick these rides? Adaptations. Oh, why did I pick these rides? Adaptations, that's what we're looking for from working these particular rides, these particular training zones. We're looking for adaptations. What adaptations, you might ask? Okay, last week I went through the different ways to serve or deliver ATP, the fuel for your working muscles. The best way to make these systems more efficient is to train them. One question from Richard Theriol. I hope I didn't screw that up. I'm sorry if I did. Richard, thank you. You wrote almost right after, as I was saying it, how do you tap into fat stores more quickly? Awesome question. You wrote, do you have to use up all of the glycogen first? And if you didn't see last week's briefing, go back and watch it. And I went through just the progression of how you go through the different energy systems and how you start off with stored ATP and then use glucose that is in the environment, and then break down glycogen, which is the stored form of glycogen, and then start using fat as an energy source. And then as intensity goes back up, you start going back into those energy systems. So hopefully that makes sense. The answer to your question is no, you don't have to use up all of your glycogen before you start using fat. In fact, you're using all of these systems on a continuum. They're all always on. Very interesting and sometimes forgotten. We don't switch one off and switch the other one on. It's on a continuum. Okay, they're all always working. So once you start pedaling, it takes time, though, for the fat stores to mobilize, get converted to glucose, run through the Krebs cycle in the mitochondria to produce usable ATP and deliver it to your working muscles. It all happens within the muscles. So once that kicks in, sometimes 10, 15 minutes for it to really be cranking efficiently, fat can be the fuel source for muscles and keep them happy for a long time, as long as your intensity stays at a reasonable pace. So training this system, adaptations are increased mitochondria in number and in function. In addition to that, there's increased plasma volume, increased mitochondrial enzymes, increased lactate threshold, increased muscle glycogen storage, increased stroke volume, maximal cardio output, increased VO2 max, etc., etc., etc. You get where I'm going with this? There's a lot of awesome there's a lot of awesome adaptations. Wilpers is calling. He wrote, no, he didn't write any of this. All right, and then you will access and utilize your fat faster. Pros will go out and ride for hours to maximize this base layer of their fitness, right? These guys go out, ride 6, 7, 8 hours in zone 2. They're trying to build up this fat burning system so that all of the others go up. All of the other energy systems go up, and therefore your zones go up. New hat. I'm gonna talk to you about the new hat in a minute. Okay, we don't have that many hours to train. We can't go out for 6, 7 hours and train zone 2. So we kind of pick different training zones very carefully in a tried and true method to get these adaptations with minimal amount of work. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Off the bike focus for the week. Motivation, right? I think it's time. This is getting into a harder type of week. I want to talk about motivation. Did you all see the Today Show story that I posted? Okay, my friend Lisa finished 11th at World Championships in Scotland a couple weeks ago. Today, she raced in national championships in Georgia. She finished 2nd in her age group. If you watch the video on the Today Show, she's asked what motivates her. And she says I don't know. I wanted to see how strong I could get. And she also said at the end of her world championship race, the pride that she felt, and that she hopes other people can feel that pride. And those are two awesome answers. So I want to touch on motivation for a little bit, as I talk about this with athletes a lot, and it's really hard to pinpoint a sentence that sums it all up. Like, why do we do this? We train hard, we ride bikes, we get new bikes, we spend lots of money on new bikes, and or just the Pelotons. The Pelotons, why do we ride them so much? Well, there are two kinds of motivators, I think. There are intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. An intrinsic motivator could be the health benefits, okay? There are countless health benefits. I just mentioned a ton of adaptations that happen, all leading to better health. Scientists are even now thinking that mitochondria performance can be trained to help control diabetes and other diseases. If you have stronger, better functioning mitochondria and more of them, you have the lower chances for dementia, mental health. It can be used for stress management. All right, moving on to another benefit in addition to health benefits, stress management. Okay, we have in our bodies, we have the autonomic nervous system made up of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Right, this is the fight or flight, the gas pedal, or the rest and recover, the brake pedal. And sometimes we should be able to float back and forth between the two of them, and sometimes we get stuck. And with training, you dip up into the sympathetic nervous system. You better go up there when you get into zone 5 on Monday. You then do have to come back down when you come back to zone 2. So it does train your nervous system to float back and forth between the go pedal and the brake pedal, and that is extremely important in sleep management, stress management, a number of other health benefits. Stuck in the sympathetic, always on the go, a ton of hormones are secreted. You hold on to fat more easily. You don't sleep as well. It's just not a healthy state. We need it for safety and for performance, but we need to get out of it also. All right, so those are some of the intrinsic factors that could be motivating you to train. What about some extrinsic motivators? Bikes and guitars is perfect, Jeff. Thank you. Social aspect. What about what fun to get out, give high fives, because it's cool to be acknowledged for your hard work and your diligence. What about competition? The leaderboard on Peloton or the Vermont Overland or World Championships, if you can get there. How fun to express your fitness, and it's awesome to do it with others. So most of us are all remote, and we can't, just training in your basement or whatever, but how cool is it that Peloton and Strava and Facebook have made it possible for this big group to work together? It's pretty motivating for me. I know you guys are looking in on Strava, so that makes me want to go and train. Overall, it feels good, okay? I've been talking with cyclists about what drives them for years, not just this week, but for years. And I haven't heard a more simple explanation than it feels good. I've probably told a story about one of the first national races I did in West Virginia, free swag. I'm going to talk about that second. You guys are way ahead of me. Okay. Let me tell you a story. So 12, 15 years ago, my first national race, had a freak awesome experience and really good race. Came in second place, and I beat everybody from the Northeast United States, anyone I knew. It was just awesome. Came in second place. A mentor of mine asked me at the end, he said, "How did you do, Greg?" And I said, "Oh, I got second." And he could tell. He didn't say congratulations. He said, "Enjoy the feeling." And that has stuck with me because it's the feeling. Overall, it just feels good when you get to perform and express your fitness and achieve goals. So, another personal note, my motivation to train on my bike is for longevity and longevity of health, not just living, but living healthy. for a long time, okay? I lost my dad to Alzheimer's and dementia earlier this summer. I want to be around for my family for a long time, okay? Short-term training helps me get through the loss of family members, any other stress, helps with the day-to-day. Taking care of myself helps bring a good me to whatever comes. I think you all also know that my wife and my son have both been through grueling cancer treatments. Taking care of myself means I can be there to take care of them. Also, I want to be there for good times, for a long time to come. Those are intrinsic motivators. Health, stress management, knowing that that's it, plain and simple. Those are intrinsic motivators. On the other hand, going to the race this weekend, Vermont Overland, is an extrinsic motivator. A level it doesn't need it. You don't have to be at that level, and it doesn't have to be world championships either. Find your level, what motivates you extrinsically, intrinsically, and post it up. I'm going to be asking later on, so you'll be ready. It keeps me okay, so more about the event. The event keeps me goal oriented for a month or two prior, and if all goes well with a proper awesome race, I get there's a cool race hangover for a few days afterwards. All right, there's no better feeling in the world really than being capable and by testing your limits with others and for others, and it all adds up to pride and the good feeling of getting through it. So. All right, few shout outs. Christy, Polilo, you wrote about biking outdoors, and here's what I have to say is I think the question was, does training on the Peloton translate to outdoors? Yes, absolutely. Your fitness is your fitness. What you do need to work on is to get the coordination and the bike skill from riding outside, okay? So the best predictor of performance is performance. Go and ride your bike outside and get longer and longer. Do it once a week. Pick Saturday and do your long rides. Longer, building up to your event week. Okay, does that make sense? Hit me up, direct message if I can be helpful with that. But I think you got some really good answers on the post. So thank you everyone who chimed in on that. Jill Pfeffer Wolford. It asked, if you skip a week, can you continue the challenge? The answer is yes. And it's better if you can do the progression, but sometimes life takes you away from the training block and you have to jump back in. So you can kind of use your judgment. If you have to miss this week and you want to come back in on recovery week, well, maybe it's better to do the harder week that you missed. Use your judgment, or again, post up. Hey, I missed week 3. Should I come back in on week 4? For the most cases, just jump back in. You missed week 3, jump back in on week 4. There will be a harder workout, and in the long run, you will be just fine. There's nothing so specific in this training block that you absolutely have to do every other ride. Otherwise, you get no benefit from it. That's just not the case. All right, in the portal, there's a little tab at the right. No, not last. In the portal, there's a little tab at the top right of each workout. It's called Ride Together. Click that and put what time you want to do your rides, that particular ride, and as you all do it, it'll begin to populate what the popular times are. And maybe this is helpful for you to all meet up and to be accountable. So this is beta feature, so try it out and please be patient if it's not the best thing ever, but I'm sure it is. All right, look at my hat up there on the wall. Why is it on the wall? Because, as I mentioned last week, the swag giveaway is in full force. Check your boxes after you do your rides, and then at random we are picking people to receive free swag. I've done all my rides. I think I got a hat coming. So do your rides, check the boxes in the portal, and you'll be eligible to win random swag. I believe, well, it's at random, so I can't tell you when that's going to happen, but it is on. That's it. I'm in the running for a new hat. It's up there. It's out there. You all are in the running as well. That's the most important thing. So I don't know. I'm kind of attached to the hat now. It's been so long. Anyway, have a good week. You all rock. Keep posting. Join Strava. If you know somebody who's doing this who is not in Facebook, please get them on here and keep posting. And I will see you all next week. Have a good one.